looking at 2 horror film opening sequences.
Insidious Chapter 2 and Dead Silent.
First off, Insidious Chapter 2 is a 2013 American horror film. It was directed by James Wan and produced by Blumhouse Productions. The film stars Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne, who play a married couple who are looking into the family's connection to the spirit world. The opening sequences start with non-diegetic sounds of low-pitched drums accompanied with a close-up of a hand. The effect of the music here emphasises the action and allows the audience to relate by having the same experience of being on the edge of their seats. There is use of limotes to identify characters' mood and also to enhance the emotional impact. The long suspended notes are used in contrast to the short notes in order to create the mood more shocking. Shortly following, there are screams, panicking noises from, of course, the female passive princess from Prop's characters. The contrast between the high-pitched screams of the female are binary opposites, with the husband's lower, more intimidating voice. This can give the audience an indication or lead them to suspect him for the murder of the dead body. Due to the fact of the common surroundings, a house, the murder is seen to be more out of place, therefore creating not only a narrative hook, but also an enigma code. This mise-en-scene involves a short conversation between the man and the woman regarding whether the man committed the murder or not. These first few seconds introduces 3 characters. The husband is the protagonist, the wife, the passive princess, and the dead body, who was the mentor, which would only be known by people who have seen the first film. The last 30 seconds of the opening sequence is set in a police interview room, shown in the mise-en-scene. This then shows a conversation between the police officer and the wife. Generally in horror films, the first scenes are used to not only set the scene, but are used to make the audience believe that a film is or can be real, and this opening sequence does this. The genre of this film introduces this in different ways, such as a setting. The setting is a house that is realistic, but also has dark, low lighting. This then links back to the opening scenes, creating the realistic atmosphere. There are technical codes used, as well as high and low angles, fast editing, and ECU on the victim's face. There are technical codes used as well, such as high and low angles, fast editing, using ECU on the victim's face, and also using framework that doesn't view 100% of the suspect's murderer's facial features. Iconography is used with the dark colours, non-natural lighting, and use of prop. Narrative structure is used within this film due to the subgenre supernatural horror, and that the story not being closed, hence the carry-on of the sequel, and finally the use of music I mentioned before. To the end opening sequence, there is a sudden change to black, where the title appears, drastic, high-pitched and scary music. Text appears suddenly on the screen that is bold and takes up nearly the whole screen. The colour palette is black, white and red, which are used at the stages as the text is written in red. The font is baptismal, and so the audience relate this with the binary opposite between God and the devil. This title in itself makes you jump out of your skin, as it is put directly in front of at the height of tension, and also is not what you expect at that time.
I looked at the title sequence for the film Dead Silence, a horror set around a ventriloquist dummy. At the beginning, we are shown some text, setting the mood and theme of the film, and explaining the definition behind ventriloquist. It gives us a brief insight into the root of the word, and the choice of font and style is very Victorian and similar to the times that ventriloquist dummies were used. The whole opening title sequence is presented in black and white, with the feel of an old-fashioned camera roll. The only colour presented is red when the actual title of the movie itself appears on the screen. This is in contrast and makes the words stand out in comparison to the bleak background. The music is conventional and crucial to the genre. The music is suspenseful and thrilling, setting the viewer on edge. In the scene, we see the perfect doll get constructed piece by piece, every moment building tension for us as the watcher. The ending to the sequence is a zoom into the eye of the dummy, and the accompanying music makes you feel as though you are being dragged into its soul, quite literally. The title sequence really sets the mood for what is to come, and follows the conventions of a typical horror film opening, from its eerie music to the juddery camera angles.
In conclusion, these films have completely different subgenres, however they are alike in the features they use.
For example, they both use music to enhance the atmosphere, and the music is made up of high and low-pitched noises with brass and string instruments.
This continues with similar conventions for character introductions, narrative hooks used, colour palette, technical codes, iconography and narrative structure.
Not only this, but the editing seen in horror films is can range from minimal to massive, but they all create the same ending effect, scaring the audience.